African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of November 6, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Group of troops inflicted defeat on formations of two mechanized, a jaeger, an airborne assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Sadky, Proletarskoye, Miropillia, Iskryskivshchyna and Korchakivka in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, units of a motorized infantry brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements Synelnykove and Volchansk in the Kharkiv region. Losses of the armed forces of Ukraine amounted to up to 170 servicemen, 14 vehicles, and 2 field artillery guns. 3 ammunition depots and 9 supply depots were destroyed. Units of the West Group of troops improved their position on the front line. Defeat was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 4 mechanized assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements Novoplatonovka, Tatianovka, Shikivka, Petrovka in the Kharkiv region, Yereveya, and Yampol in the Donetsk People's Republic. In the area of the settlement Kupyansk in the Kharkiv region, assault detachments of the 6th Army continue to destroy the encircled enemy group. 3 attacks by units of the 144th Mechanized, 92nd Assault Brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the 15th National Guard Brigade from the areas of the settlements Nechvolodovka and Blahodatovka in the Kharkiv region aimed at breaking through to the encircled Ukrainian formations were repelled. An attempt by a group of servicemen of the 116th Mechanized Brigade to break out of the encirclement westward was thwarted. Units of the South Group of troops took more advantageous lines and positions. Defeat was inflicted on formations of 5 mechanized, assault, mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine Brigade, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Seversky, Kramatorsk, Drushkovka, Nikiforovka, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 95 servicemen, 2 tanks, 3 armored combat vehicles, 16 vehicles, and 2 field artillery guns. An electronic warfare station, an ammunition depot, and a supply depot were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of troops improved their tactical position. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 4 mechanized, jaeger, airmobile, airborne, 3 assault, 2 airborne assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine Brigade, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Teretskoye, Rodinskoye, Dobropoli, Kadlino in the Donetsk People's Republic, Demurino, and Volnoy in the Dnipropetrovsk region. In the settlement of Krasnoarmeysk, Donetsk People's Republic, assault groups of the 2nd Army continued the destruction of encircled formations of the armed forces of Ukraine in the eastern part of the Central District and on the territory of the Western Industrial Zone, as well as clearing Ukrainian militants from the settlements of Natovka and Rog in the Donetsk People's Republic. 64 buildings were liberated in the past day. 2 servicemen of the 68th Jaeger Brigade laid down their arms and surrendered. Units of the East Group of troops advanced deep into the enemy's defense. Damage was inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized brigades and 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Arestopil and Dnipropetrovsk region, Rovnopillia, Yablokov, and Sladko in Zaporizhia region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 245 servicemen, 2 tanks, an armored personnel carrier, 8 cars, and a U.S.-made 155mm M777 howitzer. 2 electronic warfare stations and a warehouse of material resources were destroyed. Units of the Dnipro Group of troops inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, and 2 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Novodanilovka in Zaporizhia region, Nikolsky and Tokarevka in Kherson region. Up to 45 servicemen, 1 combat armored vehicle, 7 cars, 2 artillery guns, 7 electronic warfare stations, 2 ammunition depots, and 2 warehouses of material resources were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian armed forces groups inflicted damage on energy and transport infrastructure facilities supporting the activities of the armed forces of Ukraine, storage and launch preparation sites for long-range strike UAVs, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 149 areas. Air defense means shot down 2 guided aerial bombs and 261 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 668 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 95,320 unmanned aerial vehicles, 635 surface-to-air missile systems, 25,874 tanks and other combat armored vehicles, 1,609 multiple launch rocket systems, 31,113 field artillery pieces and mortars, 46,000 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.